So I decided to do an experiment where I did 30 days of shadow work around money just to see what it would do and what I would get out of it, how it would change me, if I could manifest money with it or not. And yeah, I did it, and I'm recording this video to share those results with you. So if you're someone who is struggling with money, you feel that you're hitting your upper limit when it comes to money, or you, again, because of everything happening in the world right now, you are struggling with money in general, then keep watching because this video is going to help you out a lot. So with that, let's get started. So let me get into money mindset first. Your money mindset, if you've never heard about money mindset, is how exactly you view money. If you view money as something that's scarce, if you view money as something that's limited, basically all the fearful thoughts that you have around money are your negative money mindset. And we want to get into a place where we move from that negative money mindset to a very positive money mindset. Because at the end of the day, money is just a construct. There's, as spiritual as it sounds, truly, there's money is a made up thing. Before, back in the day, there was no money, and we can print as much money as we want. Our government can print as much money as they want. So you will notice that if you have, say, $50,000 in your bank account and you go withdraw it tomorrow, that money is not really going to be there sitting in your bank account because they have lended it out into the world. So that money that we see on our screens, in our bank accounts, that's not real money. That's the first thing you want to start thinking about. Like, money is truly unlimited. It's truly, if you want that money to come in, that money can come in. So stop thinking of money that is scarce. Stop thinking that only wealthy people have money and there's no way you can have money. There's enough money for everyone in the world. And the day you start waking up to the fact, the day you start realizing the power that you have to make this money, those ideas are going to find their way to you. Right now, what happens is when you think about money in a very negative way, those are the situations you are attracting in your life, because those are really the ideas and the intuitive nudges that you keep getting. They're going to bring back that reality to you. They're going to bring back that proof of concept to you. There is a reason why people tell you to hang out with the rich people. Why do they do that? Because those rich people, those wealthy people who already manifested that money, they would serve as your energetic expanders. So when you're surrounding yourself with that, the ideas that you get are going to be at that level, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to think past that. You need those energetic expanders to think past that. And when you do that, you get those right ideas, you're working on it, you open that field of possibility, and you're able to get those rich, wealthy outcomes. Now, when we're thinking about money in a negative way, the nudges, the actions, all of that you're getting are from that same mindset. It's like your bubble, instead of being unlimited, you have made it limited. So it's not that you can't make money from there. Of course you can make money from there, but it's going to be from that very 3D limited consciousness mindset, rather than almost connecting yourself to this God consciousness field, to this field of unlimited possibility, where you can make things happen, where things are effortless, where things are easy. Now let's move on to something that will make this concept relatable to you. I want you to think about one area in your life that has been easy for you, or lately maybe you were struggling in it, but now that area is easy for you. If you think about that area, you have never ever considered limits in that area. You have always assumed the best outcome in that area. You've always assumed that it would be there. Like, for example, if you have a great relationship, you would have never ever said words like, oh, there's not enough good men out there. All the good men are gone, or all the good girls are gone. Like, you would never ever say that to yourself if you're in a good relationship. It's because you never viewed relationships from that standpoint. You likely always saw relationships as that, oh yes, my ideal person is out there, I just haven't met them yet. There's a lot of good guys around, I just have to find the right one for me. That has likely been your story around relationships. However, if you're someone who viewed relationships as negative, then again, you're restricting yourself to that 3D reality, and you're not going to end up having the ideas or the right nudges or the right people around you to bring that right relationship to you. Whereas on the other side of things, you would have found your partner through the most incredible, crazy ways because you opened yourself to that field of possibility. So it's not that you're like magically manifesting someone or something, but it's more that you open that field around you where those right ideas and those right people, those right circumstances get attracted to you, and you're able to go get this thing or go find this thing. And that's what your money mindset does for you. When you think about money in a very detached way, where when you think about it in a no big deal, of course it's gonna come. There's unlimited out there. When there is no emotional charge around it, that is when you start getting those ideas and you act on them because they don't seem like a big deal, right? Whenever we hold charge around something, like we feel like, oh my god, this is such a big deal, it's gonna use so much effort. But when there's no charge around something, it's as easy as making a sandwich for yourself. Yes, there's a little effort. You need to get up, you need to make the sandwich for yourself, but it's easy. So now let's talk about that charge. Charge around money is a very interesting thing. Most of us have a charge around money. If you think about money right now, you are going to feel like, oh, do I want it? Do I not want it? There's going to be some emotion around it. There's going to be some desperation around it. Basically, it's not neutral. You're not, and when something is not neutral, that thing is not clear. So any ideas that you get around that thing, when it's not neutral, that is not something that you should pursue because there is going to be something else attached to it that is not pure, that is not pure divine idea that is going to help you manifest this thing. So I guess the next question would be, how exactly do you get rid of the charge? And that's where my journey within shadow work and emotional work helped me out a lot. Now, before I get into the whole shadow work, emotional work, I do want to cover one more concept, which is human design. If you're not familiar with human design, that's fine. I have a lot of videos in human design on my channel. You can feel free to browse through it. Within human design, it's very similar to the chakra system, if you've ever heard of that, except that in human design, you have 9 centers. Everyone has 9 centers. Now, these centers could be defined or undefined, and when they are undefined, it is not an energy that you create within you. It is an energy that basically you are an empath in, and anyone around you who has that center defined or colored in, you're going to be able to take that energy in through them. So a lot of their how energetically they feel or do things is going to be how you start doing things, especially if you've been around this person a lot. They're going to be a very influential power in your life when they have something defined and you have something that's not defined. There's 3 awareness centers in human design. You have your ajna, which is your third eye, and then you have your emotional solar plexus, and you have your spleen center. Your spleen center governs a lot of like fears. These are almost these irrational fears. And your emotional solar plexus center, there's a lot of nervousness there. And your ajna, there's a lot of anxiety there. So combine these 3 centers. If you have them undefined, even if one of them is undefined, you have likely been a sponge when it comes to a lot of the money beliefs in your life, because you have taken them on and you have made them true. They have become a part of your story. They've become a part of your program because since childhood you have been conditioned in it, because it was so easy for your design to get conditioned in somebody else's consciousness, and that includes the collective consciousness as well. You're like walking out and you could be absorbing all of those money beliefs. Why is emotional work important over here? What emotional work does is, over time, as you do emotional work and as you do shadow work, it helps you completely and fully accept yourself. And it helps you create this energy barrier around you and the world that is hard to penetrate through, where you become so much full in yourself, you become so much sovereign in your own power and your own energy that without even trying, nothing touches you. You're just you, And basically, your energy is your energy. You have that sovereignty over your own energy field, and you don't let anyone or anything influence it. That's the best way I can put it. And I did not know this myself when I went into this experiment. And over time, as I've been doing it, things started happening in my life where I just started reacting to things very differently, like completely differently than the way I've been doing in the past. So let me start with exactly what I did, how I did it, and what I started seeing in my daily life. Okay, the technique that I started using was EFT, and this is EFT with a little bit of like spin to it. Where if you don't know what EFT is, it's emotional freedom technique. You can go on YouTube, search for it. You'll find so many videos on EFT, but it's basically tapping, where you're tapping on these meridian points. And when you tap on these meridian points, they help you eliminate a lot of resistance, emotional charge around it. So I use EFT in order to, first of all, start removing this charge that I had around money. But the EFT I started doing was a little bit different, that I had learned from a mentor, where I would start using EFT, but not just like being like, I feel like money's so hard. I wouldn't do that. It was more like I actually started voicing the emotions that I was feeling, where I'd be like, money is feeling so freaking hard right now. Money, why are you feeling so hard right now? I cannot, this is not fair. You're not being fair to me. I feel like God is testing me. I feel like the whole world's against me. Like it's like a freaking everything that I have felt internally that I never ever let myself even express to honestly myself, because for the longest time I was defensive with my own emotions, where I did not want to feel something bad. So then I would just disregard it, and I would like find comfort in food, in drinks, in company, and all of those things, right? So like I started doing that, and I pretty much have been doing that, I think, my whole entire life, where I was very defensive about my emotions. If emotions even came in, I would just slam my door on it. So basically, I would just start tapping, and I would like anything that happened, like anything around money, I jotted down what I thought was true about money, and then I would start like journaling that this is how I feel, this is how I feel, this is how I feel, and then I would just tap. Like there was no method to it. I just kept going. Like I just kept tapping. I would get angry, I would get mad, I would get frustrated, and like basically just vent it all out. My initial reaction, which my mentor said was very normal, was that I would go into like sadness and victim mentality initially, but then as I started doing it more, I started like harnessing up my anger more, because as women we are almost taught not to be angry, but that anger does live in your body. It's there. So the whole point is not to get into that depressed space, but to get that anger out of your body. And as I started tapping on it, oh my God, like why can't money come to me? Like, what the hell? As I started doing that, I feel like it was almost like I like went into the deepest recesses of my being, and these epiphanies would come out. Some of these things, some of these memories that I had no freaking idea where on earth they were coming from, but they were coming from. And it makes sense, because your emotions, they are stored within your body. Your DNA is passed down from your ancestors, so their trauma is going to come in through you too. That is why, especially if you grew up in unfortunate situations in countries where that are not really historically privileged enough, then you are going to have more of a reaction. You're going to have more of those emotions stored within your body. And I would just see all these things that came out of nowhere, and I realized that it wasn't me. There were these emotions that were stored in my body that needed to be purged. And that's why I was holding this charge against money. Usually what ended up happening is that, and here's where the shadow work side of it comes, is either I would start judging someone, that how dare this rich person do this to us? These people are partying in their mansions. These people are doing so and so, and they're treating us like we're nothing. How dare they? And I would start tapping, because I realized it was judgment. And this is where shadow work comes in. Anytime you're judging something, someone, some situation, what shadow work says is that we are all humans. We are all capable of everything. It's all there. All that possibility is within us. But what tends to happen is that because that trait has been so condemned, for the lack of a better word, in the life that we grew up in the world that we grew up in, it was so judged in our childhood and around us that we took those aspects that were within us and we like literally threw it in the shadow side of us, in the deepest recesses within us. So we're capable of what those people are doing, what we find to be so terribly gross. We're capable of that as well. But we have put this in the recesses. What shadow work says is that you have to find those elements within you. You have to confront it. You have to forgive yourself for putting those sides of you away because you were so ashamed by it. And then you have to find the gold in it. Because even when you're judging something or someone, there's something in it that you could actually accept and integrate within yourself. And that's how you integrate your shadow self within you. So, for example, we judge narcissistic people like, oh my God, this person is so narcissistic. Like, how could they be so unempathetic, right? Now, all of us are capable of narcissism. But because those traits were so condemned in our childhood, they were so like rejected in our childhood, we put those away. Because we knew if we exhibited those, then we would be judged for it. And that's where you have to start understanding that side within you. And then you have to learn to forgive yourself for rejecting that part within you and find the gold in it. So what is the goodness in being a narcissist? A narcissist is sharp in the way that they know how to use situations to their advantage. They showcase this confidence that makes them look a certain way in the world. There's that charm that they may exude, or there's some goodness that they may show. And those are the things that we usually we're scared of showing, that we don't have that level of confidence, so we don't show it. But that's where integrating your shadow side helps, because it brings in those traits that you could integrate within yourself. And it's weird when you really do this from that emotional standpoint, right? When you really go into those deep recesses and you really heal the emotions and truly remove that shame and guilt around all that negativity, chemically, something weird happens. Where when you integrate your shadow within you, it feels different. Because it's not that you're taking a characteristics, it's not like you're affirming something to yourself. That's not it. Like, you're not downloading like a new energy. No, this is something that's already within you. You're pulling it out, you're accepting it, and you're coming back into your whole self. You're combining your light side to your shadow side, and you're peeling back those layers of onion. But it's like now you're all shiny and you're all amazing because you were too afraid to even explore the side of you. So that's the journey that I undertook. So that's the shadow aspect, or the judgment part. The second element was around vows. Are there any vows that I took around why such things keep happening in my life? Why do I keep running into the same people or running into the same patterns in my life? Likely there's a vow there. In a lot of cases, my vow would come back to the vow that I'd taken that I'm always going to be small, because being small means safe. Because if I show myself, if I make myself visible, if I become big, then people find me, and then my life could be in danger. So clearly there was something from the past where I couldn't show myself, and therefore I had taken that unconscious vow, and that was in my DNA, and that is something that needed to be released from an emotional perspective. There was a time when I came across an instance of how I had taken a vow to stick to the 3D reality and not really open myself to unlimited possibility, because staying in the 3D reality is what kept me safe. It was not okay for me to subscribe to that bigger reality, because I would get mocked and I would get ridiculed, because the society apparently that I grew up in was very like science based. It was very educated and talking about something out there, would people would make fun of me and I would get burned at the stake, for the lack of a better word. So basically, I was like, no, that's not safe to even go there. And so I need to stick to the 3D reality and I need to accept suffering as what is normal in your life. And then lastly was around identity, where if I couldn't figure out if there was a vow or there wasn't a judgment, then it was the way I viewed money was really related to how I viewed myself. So if my belief was that money never chose me, then it would come down to maybe it's because I don't choose myself. And why is that? So those were the 3 things that I focused on in this journey of shadow work and unraveling the root emotional cause of why I believed money was the way it was. And I would, like, every single day I would tap, there was so much crying, so much screaming, so much anger. It was like literally a purge that was happening. And honestly, guys, if you're in a phase in your life where you cannot do this, then don't do it. This is intense work. And it's not just like those 30 minutes or 40 minutes where I was crying and all of that. What happens is when you're really taking out all these emotions from within you, you become very cranky, and it's like there's just this anger, like you start snapping at people and you start like getting annoyed at the smallest things. So it does plateau eventually, it does become better, but it takes a while to get there. So it is not easy, it is not an easy journey by any means, but it is so freaking rewarding, and it creates this self-awareness within yourself that I cannot even describe. You will go in as one person, but you will come out as a completely different human. So here's what happened at the end of my 30 days. Within the first 2 days that I did this process, I felt this sense of detachment from money that I have never ever felt in my whole life, where I literally did not care about money, which has never ever happened in my life. It's always been something that's been in the back of my mind. Basically, it was like this whole construct that, of course, money's gonna come, but it was like so of course that I did not care. There was zero charge around it. That's the best way I can describe it, like zero. I did not have to talk myself out of it. I did not have to fake it. I did not have to keep repeating affirmations. I did not have to do anything. It just, there was this neutral charge around money for the first ever time in my life. Then I remember I was just chilling on my couch, and it was just such a freaking faint whisper where I felt like, you know what, let me just go finish off my taxes. I always wait until last minute. Let me get a head start. And I usually use TaxFile for filing my taxes. I was like, if I do it early, I'll get a coupon code. So let me just do it. Also, usually it has taken me like days to do my taxes for some reason. I don't know why. I decided to finish my taxes, and like I uploaded all my documents literally within an hour, did my profit and loss sheet in an hour, uploaded every freaking thing, and I was like, okay, I'm done. Now the CPA can take care of it and he can do my taxes, right? I go about my day, and I remember the 3rd day, he prepared the taxes, everything was ready. He was like, Poonam, just review whenever you get a chance, sign, e-sign, send it back to me. Usually, and this has been the past couple of years, I would like to say 8 years, where I usually owe around between $8,000 to $10,000, sometimes even $16,000 in taxes, depending on how the year went. I was like almost expecting, it's like the norm that you're expecting to see. I open it. And I saw $33,000 of refund that I was supposed to get from my taxes. And I remember just seeing it. I blinked a few times and I was like, what the hell is going on? Is this reality? This doesn't make any sense. I was like, this guy probably made a mistake. So I went through the whole document. I was like, oh my God, I'm really getting a big refund back. This is the nudge that I'm talking about, right? This is like that faint whisper. And I remember the tapping that I had done is that money doesn't need effort. During this time, it was more about, I don't need to work to make money. Money doesn't have to come through one way. I don't need to struggle in order to make money. Money just is money, and money just comes. I remember at the end of the session, that is the affirmation that I left it at. So I would usually purge all these things, and then a realization would hit me about how all those things were lies. And then I would I would just keep saying that, yeah, this is not real. And that's what I saw ended up happening to me in my reality. I got an idea, I implemented that idea, and then money came. Yeah. Now, again, I don't know, right? Like, you could definitely say that, Puna, maybe you could have gotten this anytime. Maybe I could have, maybe you're right. But maybe there was some divine intervention here as well. Maybe it was my energy, maybe it was my emotions, maybe I didn't have the charge. Because it could also have happened where I could have waited like last minute, which is something that I always do. Maybe the CPA I would have found would be different. Maybe they wouldn't have put in the deductions that this guy put in. Maybe. Who knows what could have happened. But it happened the way it did because I truly believe it's because of the work that I did. A couple of days later, what I noticed is that I felt very much in control of myself. I was like really being more like myself. Like before, I feel like I had all these facades and I had personas, and I had to, even before I recorded a video or even before I did something, I gave a presentation, I felt like I had to listen to a hypnosis and do these affirmations and put myself in this positive mindset. Like I had to do all these things. So it's almost having to put on like an outwardly persona, like something in me was broken and it needed to be fixed in order for me to be okay in the world, and that need went away. I didn't feel that way anymore. Everything dissolved. I was okay with being who I was. I didn't care how I showed up, and I didn't fumble when I showed up. Like it was just like so normal, so natural, so much in flow. Like I don't know how to explain it. It was just like being you, going back to you being you. Because when you're purging all those emotions, like there's something that changes within you. All that stuff comes out, and you are left with just who you are, and all those things, those personas that you adopted in order to please the world, they go away. You really come back to the person that you have always been. One of the craziest things I noticed was that I remember having my year-end performance review, and I have been putting so much freaking hard work at my job in this new job, and my even though I have been working so hard and working nights, working overtime, doing a great job, my manager still thought it was appropriate for him to bring to my attention that, listen, you are taking you're being way too much flexible in your approach, as in you come in late and you leave early and like blah 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 blah. Even though he knows the fact that I worked nights, I worked weekends, I put in so many fucking hours at this job, he knew all of that, but he valued like hours over outcomes. And I don't care, like you can go around people pleasing and doing all of that, but you're not gonna put your limited mindset on me. So that's the approach I took, where before I would have been so angry at him. This time it was different. This time I kind of like said to him calmly that, hey, listen, appreciate your feedback, but it looks like this is not a good fit for me. I like working for places where flexibility is the norm, especially for working moms, and yeah, not a good fit for me. So I'm gonna start looking, but thank you for your feedback. I do appreciate it, and I do understand where you're coming from. It's just not for me. I don't care, frankly, when if people see me coming in early, leaving late, because they don't come back to my house to see the work that I'm doing. They don't do that. They don't see the hours that I miss with my kids sometimes in order to get all these deliverables. And like a part of me in the past, I would have felt anger towards them, but now it was different. It was like almost like I felt compassion for myself rather than anger for them. No, I don't need to deal with this anymore. I'm done. I need to move on to some place that would value my work more. And again, just reiterating here, this is the same company that I've been working at for years that is super flexible. It was definitely my manager's projection here, where he felt that in order for him to look good, we had to show up in a certain way and behave in a certain way. There were some very weird comments that were made as well that I thought were not professional at all, but whatevs, not for me. I'm ready to move on. And in the past, I would have gone back to work with this sour face and pettiness and like a bit of anger and attitude. No, like, I don't care. Like, I know I'm gonna get a job. Like, I know I'm gonna make money. Even if I don't get a job, I'm gonna make money in a different way. Like, it's just gonna happen. There's like just this sense of peace around you, and also the fact that I am an open solar plexus center, right? So anytime that I've had the in human design, what that means is I'm an empath with solar in my solar plexus area. So anytime I freaking have these conversations, It's like they're mad about something or they're upset about something, and then my open solar plexus amplifies it and it goes back to them and they become even more charged. That has always been an issue. And then because they become angry, I become angry because I'm again taking that in, right? So it's like such a weird thing to have that I have been living with. But now, as I have gained this sovereignty over my emotional self, and it's automatic, guys. I can't even explain. It's so freaking automatic. It just happens. Like it's just a zen. I don't even have to do anything. And it's almost like I have this barrier where other people's emotions are not affecting me as much. I feel I don't feel responsible for their emotions anymore. I feel more compassion for myself, more anger on behalf of myself, but it's more on behalf of myself rather than someone else. Let's just put it that way. I don't care about people pleasing, but like I don't care about what they feel in a way. I accept it, I hear it, but if it's unreasonable, I don't care about it. If it is reasonable, where I am an empath at the end of the day and I see it and acknowledge it and say, oh man, that's terrible, then I can go give them that hug, give them that assurance. But it doesn't affect my emotional field the way it did in the past. And to me, that has been the freaking biggest thing out of this whole thing. And lastly, what I've noticed is just like coming into the person that who I have always been. So the version of me that spoke without any inhibitions, that said whatever they wanted to, that behaved however they wanted to. It's like coming back to that person. It's like I say what I want, I behave how I want, I don't care who's around me. Of course, I do slip back. It's not been that long. I still just have been doing this work for 30 days, so I'm still new. So here and there does come back, but most of the times it doesn't. Like before, I had a lot of inhibitions. I used to think so much before even talking in a meeting. I had to frame my sentences in my head before I spoke. I don't do that anymore. I don't care about what I'm saying, how I'm saying. If I want to say something, I say it. If I want to voice an opinion, I voice it. It's just a very liberating, yeah, very liberating, very freeing, that I don't really care about. And I don't want to say I don't really care, because I do. I love people, but I don't let that affect me and how I do things. I do things the way I want to do things. I hope that makes sense. Like I will make my sacrifices and make my exceptions for my loved ones. I do it because I want to. I don't do it because I want them to feel good. I do it because I love them and I want to do it for them. So if you're someone who struggled with people pleasing like me, who has a lot of inhibitions, you have triggers. That was a big one for me. I would get so triggered by even the slightest shift in tone, smells. Like your triggers usually go back to some trauma in your life. And if you have trauma in your life, there's definitely money attached to that, right? Money is that big theme in people's lives. So yeah, that has been my experience so far. I'm going to keep doing this work because it has been honestly like the best thing ever. It's been like amazing. And if you have the bandwidth, only if you have the bandwidth, I would really highly recommend. Obviously, I'm gonna keep doing this and I'm gonna keep recording my epiphanies and everything I've had with this. But yeah, I hope my experience has helped you. If you need any suggestions on how exactly to approach this, then let me know and I will help you through it. Bye.